he is. There's the Mr. Chad Bareford. How you doing, Chad?
Good, Kenton. You're looking less like a Canadian person and more like an LA asshole.
Yeah.
Well,
for those who don't know,
wondering how long it would take for the first joke. Right on.
Yeah.
Damn.
For those who don't know, Kenton unfortunately choked to death on his Metamucil because he's so old. So Randy has taken his place.
What does that make
I'm
me?
just kidding. Yeah. I'm just kidding, you guys.
Don't take any Metamucil. That's what it means.
Yeah. Kenton is deserving some really good time off. And Kenton, if you're listening, we love you, partner. Let's get this intro out of the way, you guys. We're going to get this party started. For those who don't know, THORChain is the world's leading Bitcoin DEX. You can swap 13 different blockchains across 41 different pools, soon to be many more, without using bridges or wrap tokens. Check it out at swap.thorchain.org, swap.thorchain.org. Anyone in the world can use THORChain, you guys. There's no account to open, no KYC required, and privacy is a human right. THORChain has two tokens, Rune and TCY. The fees for swapping on THORChain are paid in Rune, and that's where the yield comes from. The fees are deducted from swaps, so you don't need to own Rune to trade on THORChain, you guys. The Rune token is also deflationary, as 5% of the fees are burned. 10% of the protocol's fees goes to TCY token holders. Remember to stake the TCY tokens in order to collect this yield. There are no block rewards on THORChain. The protocol's fees are real money paid by real users. THORChain is more than just a DEX, you guys. It is a programmable layer 1 with the ability to create smart contracts and dApps. This app layer is being developed by Rajira. If you need help, you guys, with THORChain in general, please join the THORChain community Discord and Telegram links. Links for those are on THORChain.org. And on THORChain.org, you can join our email list. It's the best way to stay up to date with THORChain and all the cool stuff happening. And always remember, you guys, this podcast is for information and educational purposes only and does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. The THORChain community does not endorse or condone illicit activity of any kind whatsoever. And with that out of the way, you guys, it is Thursday. I love Thursday so much. I'm really excited to have you here. Randy, you guys, we did a conversation, I want to say about a couple months ago. So I'm really happy you're on live with us because I know that people would love to meet you in real time, which is really cool. So Randy, do you have a little update for us on the BD side of things for THORChain?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's I got some big shoes to fill. I am not Kenton, so I'll do my best. But yeah, I can just give you a quick update. So basically, ever since I really started, I've been actively trying to go after wallets and aggregators and everything, just to let everyone know. There was a huge list of people that THORChain already had established relationships over the years, and I'm just basically trying to kind of get back into those conversations, re-engage, find out, where they're at, what features they might want, et cetera, et cetera. So that's really the general idea, is reaching out to those projects, getting them re-engaged, reaching out to brand new projects that we haven't talked to, new wallets and things like that I feel, or we feel, that would be great partners and integrations to have. So that's the basic plan that I've been doing. Well, let me check my notes here. So, one thing I also like to note is, and I've said this in the past, if anyone out there has any suggestions on someone that THORChain is currently not working with, or I guess maybe in theory has worked with that we're not currently working with, that you feel strongly about, like, why are we not working with them, or why don't we have a partnership with them, or whatever, please do let me know. Like, I'll go after anybody. I don't care who it is. So just, drop me a line, shoot me a text, whatever it is, and just let me know, like, hey, Randy, why have we talked to these guys, or why isn't THORChain working with them? It would make total sense. So, that's super helpful to me. So please keep that in mind. And let me know. Right now, I'm actually literally currently going through active partnerships. Chad and I are kind of trying to bring this new dynamic fee model, get it going. So I'm actually trying to identify what the best projects are we might be able to test this out on and work with and things like that. So that's actually what I'm actively doing as we speak. And I think we've got some good candidates there that we're going to be working with. And then let's see what else I've got. We're looking at bringing in potentially some new ERC tokens as well. I know I think you guys talked about that last on the last podcast. Like a great example is Morpheus. Great project, great founder. And would love to get like their token listed, as well as there's a lot of top ERC tokens that aren't listed currently. I think, unless I did the wrong research, like take for example like Uniswap or 1inch or Aave, the Maker Sky token, Lido. Some of those aren't currently listed, and if they are, I apologize. I didn't see them, but those would be just as some examples of some great tokens to get listed. It's not that hard. And so I'll be looking at maybe bringing some of those integrations into play. And then as far as some events, this is the last thing. Chad and I are going to the Futurist Blockchain Conference. It's July 21st, 22nd in Toronto. Chad can tell you maybe a little bit more about it because he's a main speaker at it. I don't know if he knows what he's talking about yet, but up to him to tell you. And
I'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Oh yeah. I honestly don't know, but he is one of the main speakers. So we're gonna go to that. Obviously, for me, my big thing is just networking there, going around. I saw who's gonna be. There's a lot of like wallets and aggregators to talk to, and you know, I'm a huge fan of face to face. I thought we had a really good event, as you two know, here in Vegas. So I want to bring that to Toronto. And then lastly, just looking forward, some events that I'd like to try to make, you know, they're a little hit or miss, but well, there is an Avalanche a New York City event that I believe Chad's going to go to just because he's there in September. And then there's Bittensor in Montreal in September that I think would be a good one to try to make. Token 2049, I would love to go to that. That's in October, but it's in Singapore. So that one might be a little bit harder to make. But there is a Zcash event the very end of October that happens to be in Cancun. And I basically live in Cancun. So, I think I might make that one. And then November 15th is there's a Solana event in London. And I also think that's a little ways out from now in November, but I do think that could be a really good one. So Anyway, I think that's pretty much it. Obviously, if anyone has any questions for me, drop them in, but that's my update. And that's that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And thanks for having me.
Dude, thanks for joining. Thanks for replacing Kenton on a short notice. I love it.
Careful with that replacing word. There's no replacing word.
Hey, we are all
Standing
irreplaceable in our own way. Standing in. There you go. Yeah.
Standing in.
I'm just the stand-in.
While he's touching
I'm
the
just
grass.
Kenton told me to phrase it that way. It was a purity test. You passed, good sir. Well done.
Nope.
Well, hey, Chad, if I am not mistaken, the dynamic fee thing, he mentioned it, Randy, that is live. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we finally got the ADR to pass. Took a while to get the notes to vote, but we did get a pass eventually. We flipped it on for Symbiosis. We saw a bug fairly quickly, but a very small one, which is easy to patch, but not really like a deal breaker by any stretch that we're going on. What was it? I noticed an issue with their swapping UI, so we're looking to get that fixed. Where when somebody's trading, like say you want to do like an ETH to BTC trade, for example, it trades it from ETH to USDC and then sends the USDC to THORChain, and then THORChain does a double swap into BTC, and so you're actually doing like 3 trades along the route, which maybe this is one of the reasons, or the reason, or whatever it is, we're still looking into it, is like why we're not getting that much volume from them, because we have to do 3 trades, like they're going through like, you know, Kyber first or OX or something like this, and you get whatever the fees is of that, plus the double swap fee, you know, on our system to go from USDC to BTC. For chain flip, it's like kind of a little bit of the opposite, because USDC is their like base asset. It's like, you know, of all their pools. And so they don't have to double swap. They just do a single swap. And so because of that, they charge less in fees. And I think that's partially why, at least one of the reasons why there was a little bit of an issue. So we're not really getting much volume from them right now. I think in part because of this, but we're going to keep on, you know, digging deeper into it. And if there are other issues that come up, well, you know, we'll find them, you know, figure out solutions to them, so forth and so on. In the meantime, while we're working on all that, Randy and I are kind of reaching out to a handful of other affiliates that we are interested in just kind of like flipping it on for them as well. Just have another kind of testing bet, maybe one that has a little more volume, that we can even access in a matter of speaking. So we're gonna be looking towards, I don't know who it is yet. We're having a few different conversations with a few different partners, but we just want to, like I said, with there's two things we're trying to establish with this kind of experiment. One is, does the code function as it's supposed or intended to function? Are there issues, bugs, that we need to iron out, whatever? And two is like, does this feature generate more fees, relative to a specific affiliate? And those are the high level, the two different questions we're trying to answer with this thing. There are Rake has a dashboard that's you can look it up yourself. It's on the Rake's website, Rakealytics, I think it is .net or whatever the pronunciation is of that. And so you'll be able to follow along there if you do want to follow along. But that's just going to be a process for me and Randy and Kenton as well to kind of go through that process and connect more affiliates with this feature. And as we get more confidence that the feature works correctly, like as it's designed, and that it has the outcomes that we're, hoping or expecting there to be, then we can kind of like really kind of start flipping it on for a bunch of affiliates, right? And really like ramp that fucker up, and really like bring in some real
Yeah.
revenue.
Dude,
Yep.
okay, I'm so thankful to you guys because my brain did not consider that, Randy, you reaching out to our old friends, our old partners, Chad having a senior engineer like you looking at their UI and realizing that problem. That, I didn't even think that there was some crazy technical mishap that may actually be preventing us from getting volume from them. Really has nothing to do with our swap codes at all. It's like this.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's other things at
Right.
play. The other thing that I'm like a little bit concerned about, and I have to do more research to kind of dive deeper into it, is just like the slip, right? Our ability for the pool price and the market price to be as close to even as possible relative to our quote unquote competition. And so like if our slip is way high, you could go to 0 fees and not get, any swaps because our pool price and market price is deviated too far away. The funny thing about that is that like if it deviates in one direction, it can deviate in the other direction, right? And so in some cases, if you're swapping in one direction, it hurts you. If you swap in the other direction, the same situation would help you. So it's kind of like a coin toss of like whether it's helping you or hurting you depending upon which direction you're swapping and all this kind of stuff. But that's another thing we need to work on. That's actually why we were voting on ADR 27 was to help keep the market price and the pool price, dead even. I'm even thinking about the idea, although I'm not like confident about this yet, but I'm just considering the idea of like using the Oracle. So like one step back, because the secured and trade assets are like 10 bips minimum fee, the pool price, the ARBs cannot correct the pool price to within 10 basis points. Because if they did, it would be unprofitable in their scenario, right? The fees are too high relative to what they can get out. So we sit either at 10 bips plus or negative 10 bips plus, and then we can fluctuate between those 2 points depending upon just the price of Rune moving up or down, or Bitcoin going up and down by a penny or whatever it is, or just random people swapping and pushing it in one direction or another. And so, but having the ability for the protocol to use the Oracle, the enshrined Oracle that we have, to go from the 10 bips at most to the 0 bips, and just like virtually change the pool ratio, the pool depth, reducing Rune or reducing Bitcoin virtually for the swap, so that you get like the pinpoint accurate, thing. It wouldn't be much. It would be like, it would only adjust it 10 bips at most, at maximum. So it wouldn't be, if it's very small change to the pool, depths in a sense. But theoretically, you would be able to maintain at like pitch perfect, pool prices to market prices, like every block, like directly on the money, which would be, that means we have basically 0 slippage in a matter of speaking. And then the only thing you're really paying is the fees, the swap fees, the gas fees, the outbound fees. And we don't have to worry about the fluctuation of like things moving around arbitrarily from up or down or negative or positive and back around and all these things. So that's like, this is like a process that I'm going through with Randy's help to do a deep dive into, in this case it's Symbiosis, tomorrow it might be Shapeshift, or the next day it might be Edge Wallet, and doing a deep dive into each one of these affiliates and finding out, are we winning? Are we losing? Why are we winning? Why are we losing? Can we improve this thing? Is there, what is their complaints? Could we make the API access faster or something or whatever? And just kind of like understand what the biggest pain points of each individual affiliate, so that we can make, learn our lessons, make some sort of change or solution, move it forward, and be as competitive as possible.
Incredible. And I think it's very interesting that I think this is probably the first, partner that you've looked at, and there was this huge issue with it, right? So that's a one of one. I gotta say, there's
that was
gonna
a
be
101.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I opened a PR with them. Like, their code's open source, so I looked at their source code. I opened a PR, pretty small. It's like 200 line change, and I opened it and sent it to the team. And now, we're starting that process to get it reviewed and get their
perfect.
responses, and hopefully it'll be a positive interaction, and get it quickly patched and deployed and fixed, and then we can move forward.
Absolutely. That makes me so happy. I mean, there's probably a lot more reasons. Yeah, this is crazy. This is blowing my mind, actually. Something I didn't even think about. So
Yeah.
good job, boys.
Yeah, I didn't think
Good
about it either, to
job.
be honest with you. I just assumed everybody, is good. Like, all the affiliates are set up and it's all fine. And I didn't really consider that. And until I saw it and observed it, I'm like, wait, this is a weird thing happening here. This doesn't make any sense. Why are you going the extra swap from whatever to whatever?
Right.
Like, it makes no sense. So, but but like, to be fair to them, like, they're not THORChain experts, right? They don't know
Sure.
how THORChain works. They may not even know that there's a single swap and double swap and what the difference of those two things are. So, like, maybe they just didn't quite understand, in that sense. And, like, I can't blame them for that, right? And so it helps to have an engineer on the THORChain side, whether it be me or, somebody else, to help kind of fine tune and improve wherever we can.
No, yeah, we don't blame them at all. We want to just make their execution for their customers to be better. We want to provide them with a better experience. And so,
Right.
oh
Yep.
man, this is great, right? So this is exactly what we need to do.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done, boys. I'm very happy, and I'm so excited to see what comes after this. So okay. So you mentioned there's a small little bug, whatever. No, it's not really a big deal. We'll patch it. When do you think the next trial run? Are we going to do this one integration for a while, get some data, and then
No,
go
I,
from there?
I think we're ready to start the next integration partner as soon as we find one that is a good fit for the testing bed of this feature. And so I gave Randy a handful of questions, like 5 questions, to ask these partners and get their answers back. And we're looking for this question, we're looking for this, this kind of answer. That question, we're looking for that kind of answer, just as a maximally beneficial, affiliate to test it out on. So we're talking to, like, I think, what, Randy, they're like 5 or 6 different affiliates, something like
Yeah,
this.
I honestly, I think it's like 6 that
Yeah.
we're currently in touch with. Yep.
Yeah.
That we're just waiting to get feedback from. Yep.
Yep. And then, as soon as we find one that's a good fit for testing this feature, we'll tell the nodes to vote, and just 3 nodes to vote and turn it on for this particular affiliate, code, Thor name code, whatever you want to call it, and and then we're off to that races as well.
Love it. If there's any integration partners out there that are listening to this and this sounds interesting to you, you want to experiment, then please reach out. We will hook you up and we will get you going, because we are interested in going just all the way, baby. So
Yep.
nice,
Yep.
guys.
Yep.
Okay, Chad. What else do you got? Anything else on that front you want to talk about? That's really good news, man.
Yeah, I mean, lots of things. Let me bring my notes so I can reference some things. Monero is keep on going. We went through a process of auditing the Serai code. We did find, a bunch of things to patch or fix. In doing so and fixing those things, we actually also broke some things, and so we have to, like, unbreak some things that we broke, and we made like 30 plus changes, whatever the number is. And so we need to get some more fixes done within the Serai / Bifrost side of things. So we may have to push out 3.19.4 in order to be Monero compliant or Monero ready or whatever you want to call it, or, But that's like actively being worked on by myself and a handful of other individuals. So that's still like being worked on. We're trying to get Zcash out there, but the problem is because of a Solana related bug or issue, we haven't been able to be churning. And in order for add new chains, we have to like churn. And that's actually another thing I want to like tag on to. Like at some point in the future, like I'm not sure we actually need to churn in order to add support for a particular chain. So we can get rid of that requirement for churning. Like when we were doing, designing all this stuff, we didn't think we'd be adding changes as fast as we're trying to add changes now. So we were very like since we launched MCCN in 21, how many chains have we actually added in total since then?
Yeah,
Like,
not too much.
not that much. And like, and then like the last like, year or 6 months, whatever it is, we've added like a handful, right? With more on the way, with a lot more on the way. So to make that process smoother and easier and faster and, like more like efficient, something I want to poke at some, time when I have these spare resources to do so, I'll probably poke at that sometime.
Yeah, that'd be a good bottleneck to take care of because churning has been an issue because we have to churn, the pool is created and then liquidity has to be seeded and
Yep.
then, trading signing or maybe signing's already active or I'm not sure. And then then we could do swaps on THORChain, right? So
Yep.
in your idea, would liquidity would just be sitting there and it basically you just take this pool that's ready to go and just kind of like whoop put it right up to THORChain and then it's kind of a done deal. Is that kind of how it works? Or very simple way I explained it. I'm sorry, but I'm not sure how else to explain it.
So it's like when we do a key gen and produce the keys for like a churn, whatever, we don't actually produce wallet addresses, believe it or not. We actually produce what's called a pub key. I don't know how technical this audience is, but it's called a pub key. And from the pub key, you can generate an address for Ethereum. You can generate address for Doge. You can generate address for Solana. You can generate address for, arbitrarily whatever chains you want. It's like it's how this stuff works in general. It's like you have a private key and then you have a pub key and then you have, addresses on top of that. Technically there's more layers in between those 2 points, but I'm not trying to make this too complicated for our audience. And so like technically, like we have the pub key right now for the current, nodes. And technically you could generate the Zcash address for all the Asgards like right now. So you could actually just get some, a calculator out, so to speak, and generate that address right now. And it would work. Like we have the private key already for that address and you could send funds to that address and we have the key to be able to control those funds. And we just need nodes to observe that address and say, oh, there's an address. Here's a Zcash address or Monero address or whatever address it might be. And be like, just observe the inbound and outbound traffic from and to, right? So you don't actually need the churn, to achieve that goal. What you need in terms of the churn is more of like, is corralling the nodes to be ready at a certain time to be able to like observe everything. So you just got to figure out a way we have to tell the nodes to, install the Zcash client or the Monero client, let it sync to the tip. And we just need a methodology of being able to monitor the tip, wherever a tip is, or wherever you are in your syncing process for 80% plus of the nodes, right? You don't need 100%. You can go off of just 80% is probably good enough, right? The rest of them will, follow up over time. And then you can just, look at that, which you could probably do through a Bifrost API request. And then you just go ahead and start sending funds to the address. So like it probably just be, instead of being churn, like largely churn controlled, it would probably just be Mimir controlled, right? We would there's a new Mimir we would create that would be like, enable Zcash, enable chain, right? Whatever that might be. And then we would just flip it on once we see enough nodes are synced into the tip, then just flip it on and then just like send funds to create the pool. And then like, there you go. You're already done.
What does the churn affect that at all? Like if we were in the middle of a churn, could we not do this or does it not matter at all?
It would not matter.
It would not matter.
Generally speaking, would not matter because in that case, you would have, I guess the churn actually creates the Asgard vaults themselves, like the entity within the database. So you have to figure out a way around that, which shouldn't be too hard. But in that case, in the churn scenario, you actually have two vaults, the retiring sets of vaults and the active sets of vaults. And so you would technically want to create both just in case somebody You wouldn't need the retiring because nobody would have cached the retiring because there's no address to cache until just now. So I guess you wouldn't need to do the retiring, just the active, and it would probably just be fine. You would just have to figure out a way for the network to know to create the Asgard entity within the KD store, within the database, so that it knows that it exists, which should be fairly easy with a Mimir. When you flip it on, it just checks the for the Asgards, and should be okay. I think.
Interesting.
It takes. I have to do a deeper dive than I already have.
Of
Like
course.
this is something I've been playing with in the back of my mind in the interest of just getting chains to be added more efficiently and quickly and more streamlined. But there's probably
Yes.
some edge cases or complexities that I haven't. I'm just not recalling off the top of my head.
Yeah, no worries. I totally get this is an ideation phase. Really interesting though, and I think people would be really excited for this. Can we have an update on opt-in chain clients? Is that on the back burner? Like what?
That's on the back burner for right now. I started working on it. I have a PR open that's in draft status that is like kind of in progress, but with the hack and with everything else going on, and I'm doing and with dynamic fee and all this kind of stuff, like that stuff's a higher priority for the time being until I can get my resources around and like find some spare time to continue to work on that.
Makes sense. Yeah, very cool. All right. Yeah, I think that's a really interesting idea, Chad, because like to your point, adding chains has been a slow process, and if we can make this a more streamlined process, then we can really just go to town. So you mentioned about XMR. I think you said 3.19.4. What people want to know, how long do you think that be until we have that?
That's a good question. It's hard to say because right now the CI is failing and we have to fix all that, which I don't think will be that hard. The hardest process of that is really more so just getting the approvals and to get everything merged, more so than finding the issue, patching the issue, creating the problem, creating the PR, the MR, and just getting the attention from the devs to look at it and review it and merge. That's the most time-consuming part of it. I think we can probably do it within a week if you ask me. I think that's a reasonable amount of time from everything I understand and see now. I would say that would be my best guess. Maybe
Okay.
2 weeks,
Yeah.
1 to 2 weeks, I'd say.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. I do have a question from the audience. It is a Hugin question. This is kind of one of those future capability questions. Okay. So
Future blockchain conference questions.
yeah. All right. So here's the question. In the same way that you spoke about moving LP to POL being kind of common sense way forward, could you have a discussion on a way to get the future where we have 250 plus nodes that keep being mentioned? And could you have something where all you need to start is 300K and then you could buy a kit or a version of Hugin to run it for you? So the old AI, a kit, a streamlined ways to get new nodes on. Yeah.
Well, so I don't. We're nowhere close to that now. AI is amazing, but it's not there yet. It's practical for it to get there. To be honest with you, in my opinion, what would we need to get there? Um, well, you need some place to run the Hugin agent itself or the AI agent, whatever it is, somewhere. That becomes problematic because that becomes like a possible point of centralization rather than like me. Like I am the agent right now that runs the node or whatever in a matter of speaking. And I am very decentralized because I am me and you are you. And, so that's one thing to be considerate of. Although, you could probably theoretically just run on like a Mac mini or something. It doesn't need like super expensive hardware to do that. Maybe even a Raspberry Pi, to be honest with you, might be possible. Something as small and cheap as that. The problem becomes around like, um, hallucinations become an issue, and it making changes to the protocol, or changes not the protocol, but to your individual node that is not smart. Accidentally just deleting all your keys or something like this, or something silly, and that'd be the kind of like concern. Although it wouldn't be en masse, and that would probably be fine. So if I destroyed my node that I run right now, hypothetically, like wouldn't really matter much. Like it might actually hurt the key gen because you need 100% of the nodes to participate in keygen, but in any other circumstance or way, the network would continue to operate without an issue whatsoever, pretty much. Um, I don't know. It's an interesting question. I don't think we're anywhere close to that point. It goes upon this larger question about like, is AI going to replace our jobs in a fully autonomous? Right now, AI is used to augment us as humans. I use AI to help me write code, for example, and Randy might use AI to help him, write a message to some clients or whatever, right? Like we all use it as an augmentive, as a tool rather than a fully autonomous employee in a matter of speaking. But maybe we'll get there one day. It's harder than it sounds. It's easy to go like
Yeah.
9% of the way. It's that last bit is like extremely complicated and hard. Same way that like self-driving cars, you can do like 90% of the car driving is on a highway, right? And highway driving is like really simple. There's no people, there's no like dogs crossing the road. It's very straightforward lines in the road, like it's very clear. But this like that last mile is like the issue, like driving through a parking lot and finding a parking spot that doesn't have broken glass in it, that I don't drive my car over broken glass and pop all the tires or whatever. Like that's where all the complexity is. And it's like from us human perspective, it's like not that big of a deal. I can just find a parking spot and park my car. Who cares? But at last mile, is actually a really complicated thing to do. So it's really hard to answer that question, to be honest.
Yeah, I totally get it because, there's so much nuance with being a node operator. And until AI can be superior to a human node operator, like
Yeah,
actively fix problems that are
right.
not obvious, right? Like,
And to be honest, it would like an AI, operator would be better than a human in many ways because it's like it's always live, it's always present. It's a full time 24/7,
Think you can get them to
365.
vote?
Yeah, you can get them to vote too. Like, hey, just like here's a Discord. When you see a vote request, do a vote. Like, analyze the pros and the cons, make a decision, and then vote. Theoretically, why not? Like, it's not far fetched. I mean, I'm not sure if I really want ChatGPT dictating changes on THORChain or not. But that's a different question. But yeah, it's possible, and like to have oftentimes nodes are sometimes oblivious, and their nodes are broken, and we can't churn, and they're not observing their base daemon is broken, and they're not and then they just don't notice it, or the alerting system's broken, or whatever it might be. And the nice thing with the AI is that it's like always on, and so whenever something happens, you run out of disk space, whatever, the AI is already there fixing it within seconds, minutes, whatever, and you're carrying on, So in some ways, it'll be a lot better to have that, but I just think we're far away from it.
That's actually an interesting thing. You said, Randy, about it voting, right? Like for me, it's just something instantaneous to Chad's point as well. That might be actually really cool because I'm assuming nodes have their own internal infrastructure when it comes to alerting when there's problems. But
Yeah.
if we had maybe just a generalized AI that was just monitoring and nodes could just like monitor that and, immediately be pinged if their node something was wrong, like that might be kind of a cool tool, because I don't know. It seems like there's just some nodes that have serious issues and it's just
Yeah.
days and days before
Yep.
they respond or know. And it's just like, this just seems like it's such an obvious, you know what I mean? Like if there was a system where they could just be like, boom, there's no excuse why they don't know they have an issue because, the AI told them. I don't know. That's one of the holdups on our decentralized framework is sometimes we just have one or two nodes and we're just like, hello, where you at?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah. I've considered doing something like that in the past. I think the biggest problem I find with it is that we don't know what the node's email address is or phone number is or contact information in general, nor do I want to know what that information is, to be honest with you. And so if we do detect that there's a problem with this node, we have no way of actually, identifying that node in a reasonable way to be able to contact that node and tell it, hey, your node has got some problem, whatever. But we also don't have access to a lot of the information. I don't know if they're running out of memory, or if their disk is full, or if they have enough compute, or if the VPN they're using is misconfigured in some way, shape, or form. Like all I have is what's
Right.
what's either in the Bifrost API or what's on like the blockchain itself, which is a good amount of information, and then it's like you can detect problems from that alone. But you don't get enough information to be able to do that in a way that is thorough in its alerting and its monitoring, in a sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's
Yeah,
better.
really
You're better
complicated.
off just building your own thing, which like you don't need to build your own thing. You already have, there's already monitoring built into the node launcher system. You just got to like configure it correctly, which I hope nodes, I hope nodes do that, and they are actually alerting, and they have like PagerDuty set up or something like that to get like real-time notifications about, issues that might be coming.
Yeah, makes sense. We'll back it up a little bit because I really love the beginning of this conversation. You guys went to Symbiosis. You guys, discovered some issues, which cool. Being a senior engineer, you can see right away when something's not right. Randy, I want to kick it to you real quick. We did an interview. I think it was like 3 or 4 months ago, a while, introduction, but it was recorded, it wasn't live. So I'm just curious on your front, like, you've been working really hard. I'm not just trying to kiss your butt here. Like, legitimately, I see you always in DMs.
Well, thank you.
Just doing stuff all the time. So maybe give a little audience, because we got someone here. They're saying, good to see Randy again. Love that face. Right. So if you want to give an idea, like what's something that you're really passionate about? What are you really excited? Like what are you like since the last time we spoke? If people haven't seen that. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. we were just literally talking about it. I'm super pumped on the whole AI agent, how they're gonna interact with. Well, really, when it comes down to it, how are they gonna interact with THORChain? Just to get right down to it, right? And that to me is just such a big opportunity. I think we all know that. I don't think I'm shocking anyone with that knowledge, but I'm just super curious on how we as a project can make it so easy for AI agents to use us for swaps or I was doing a little bit more research and was thinking about, like, for example, X402 seems to be a really good payment system where we could allow agents to pay via 402. It sounds like most of the 402 payments are currently in a stable coin, and i.e. a USDC. So if I'm understanding correctly, agents are going to be holding up everything other than USDC. Where are they going to go to buy that USDC? THORChain. So like they could go to THORChain to get the USDC, right? They're not going to want to go to centralized exchange. So it's almost like we've got 2 buckets we could hit, like getting the agent's ability to get that USDC from us very easily, and then using us to swap via paying that through the X402 with their USDC that they just swapped through THORChain or just bought from THORChain. So it's like there's almost like a couple different ways to take advantage of this. And obviously Chad knows way more about how this would work and the implementation and things like that. But that's the one thing that I'm super passionate about, pumped up. And I really think gives us a huge opportunity over just take centralized exchanges. If we build this right, they're done as far as that goes. Like swaps go like that. Like, I shouldn't say it's sorry, I get passionate. They're not done, but like they are going to lose a lot of volume to someone like ourselves who can provide such a better, easier experience for an AI agent. What are they going to do? Sign up for a credit card? What are they going to KYC to go use Coinbase? Fuck no.
Yeah.
So,
KYC
anyway,
your agents now.
That's basic. You're going to have to use, right? So it's like KYC your agent. Don't need to do that with THORChain. So like it's just those are the kind of things I just want. I really want to make sure, and I know Chad's already working on this. The team's working on it to prepare us so that when it's already starting to kick off, to be honest. But when it really starts going, I think it's just going to snowball. And I just want to be in front of it, ready to go.
Yep.
I will say with a caveat, and I know Chad feels the same way, and I totally agree with him. Personally, today, like as it stands today, I'm not giving my agent any of my, I'm not ready for that yet, personally. That's just, we're just not there yet. But there are some people out there that feel that they're cool with it. Okay, cool. Let them do that. And hey, use THORChain while you're at it. But it will be getting better over time. And there will be a time where I'm actually going to be like, you know what? I'm ready. And here's my wallet. Here, go out and do this, do that, do that. Not yet. But there will be a time. So.
Just make sure whatever amount of money you do, it's like, it's not a significant amount of money from
I'll
your
start with like
perspective.
$1 million USDC.
There you go.
And
For
go from
some
there.
people, $1 million
Yeah.
is like, not that much money. There's some people that like that.
Just kidding.
Like
Yeah.
Donald Trump, that's probably the case. He just came
Yeah.
out that he made $1 billion with a crypto, whatever.
Yes.
But
Congratulations on the rug pull, Trump. Thank you. That helped a lot.
So
yeah, I thought this hilarious.
I'd love to hear Chad's take on how we could implement that, how that would look. Sorry to cut you off, Chad, but that's what I'm passionate about. So
No, I saw this hilarious tweet earlier about Trump. It was really good. It was just like, they're like, don't feel bad. Like Trump didn't make his first billion on crypto until he was 80. you still got time. All right, let's all wait until we're 80 years old to make $1 billion in crypto. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, so I don't follow the AI kind of payment rails too closely myself. I kind of passed this kind of work over to one of the other devs in the team to do a deep dive into like X402 and like EIP 8004 and a bunch of other kind of like initiatives or standards or whatever. And whatever we can do to be more friendly or more seamless or whatever to support that kind of thing. I don't think anybody's like, bearish on that kind of work. You know what I mean? So that is something we're going to be actively like kind of looking into. And I agree that like it's almost entirely going to be in the stables world. Which is why, like, I think like that ties into like the free stable swaps thing that I was like mentioning in the past of like how agents would use that system for obvious reasons because
right.
they want to whatever's the most efficient or the most cost effective, and free swaps are free, right? So that's great, and so like they don't really care about brand or decentralized or not decentralized or like anything else. I'm just like, I want this, I have this, and I want this other stable coin. And that's what becoming integrated into the world that way, I think would be really, really interesting. And we can get crazy amounts of volume that way, right? Like absurd amounts of volume. Because
I mean,
you go ahead.
Well, I was just something that came to my mind. I don't know if this would be legit or not, but like, think about it. From what I'm hearing, Europe is not too stoked on us. Like everything is USD denominated. They want to get the euro on a stable coin. So there's going to be a euro stable coin. It's a massive thing. But ultimately, you're going to want to trade that euro stable coin into a USD stable coin probably. So there's
that's a good point.
Think of all that volume that is going to need to trade from stable to stable. That is... It's insane. And so like if we're like, oh, by the way, we offer that service for free and it's no KYC, it's permissionless, censorship resistant. Gee, who should we use? So it's just like that kind of thought process. So
to be fair, that's a euro to a USD, so that would not be part of the free stable to stable thing because it's a different different asset. But that said, we can still theoretically trade, on THORChain. In any case, this would have fees, and then we can use a dynamic fee model to adjust our pricing to be effective, or we can even just add new features that make it even cheaper or something like new strategies.
As long as we're competitive or less than most of the places, that still, I just said free just in general. You're right.
Yeah. We can do that. We can do that.
Yep.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. It'd be interesting to see the growth of a euro stable because that's coming. I mean, it will never exceed the US stable for reasons that should be fairly obvious. But but still, it's going to be worth hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars theoretically one day. Once the whole world kind of gets onto crypto as a standard of financial transactions, which is to me like kind of an inevitable concept.
Right.
I think Randy, the point you made, and I think is an excellent one. You talked about CEXs pretty much just being irrelevant at a certain point, and I think this harkens to the fact that THORChain never surrendered its permissionless aspect of its protocol, and just how powerful that is, and the sheer utility that brings. Because you're right, Randy, like KYC and an AI agent is ridiculous on a centralized exchange as a non-starter. The competitive advantage THORChain has because it stuck to the first principles and maintained its permissionless ethos. Like that's where the fruit's coming now. Like it was much harder to do what we did, but now that we're here, now we really are going to enjoy the fruit of this. So this is absolutely massive, guys. Like it's incredible. So I think you knocked out a park when you said that CEXs are going to be sort of can't compete or irrelevant. It's true. It's true. Because
Yeah,
why
yeah.
would you use them? With AI agents, just want free, frictionless, not free, but as least friction as possible when it comes to liquidity.
Correct.
Boom, done.
Correct.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
That's gonna be the future, right? Getting the Clarity Act passed. Like I was just watching somebody on Twitter from Coinbase. He's being interviewed on like CNBC or whatever it was, and he was just saying that like there's like 40 countries that are now building their reserve of crypto, right? Whether that be stables or Bitcoin or whatever it might be. He didn't go into specifics, I don't think, but there's like there does seem to some kind of like to be some like micro catalysts, happening in the space. That's not so much top news, but it, hidden the headlines like Clarity Act might, but it is still fundamentally a shift in human culture, human perspective about the role of crypto in our society.
Yep.
1000%. Sorry, I was getting myself some water there. 100%. Yeah. And I just, for me, it's obvious. As for us, it's obvious. I just think people need to wake up. You controlling your own assets, the sovereignty, self custody. Like, it's just better in every single way. Of course it is. We all know this. This is the why we do this podcast, you guys. Please share the podcast out. We want to share with the world. There is economic freedom here. This is what THORChain has been set out to do. And we have technically done it. We now are just building tools and making it better and better and better. And we are, guys. Dynamic fee is great. What about, okay, talking about, let's switch topic a little bit. So dynamic fees we charge, that is different from affiliate revenue share, correct?
Yep.
Maybe we can talk a little bit about that. Where does that stand since last we talked?
Yeah, so rev share like just at a high level, rev share is just the ability for the biz dev team to enable revenue sharing for a given affiliate, which we can say like, okay, for this affiliate, let's call them, Denny, for example, we'll give you 20% of the revenue we make from your trades back to you as an incentive, as a tool for Randy, to empower Randy, give him the best kind of tool set we can give him, so that he can, talk to wallets and integrations partners and whatever, there to have as much wiggle room as he can to land a deal or land a partnership in some way, shape, or form. There's an ADR that's going to be going out to vote on this concept by ADR, I think it's ADR 29. And as part of that, we've also floated, a conversation that I've had with the SwapKit team of how they want to utilize this feature. And what they want to do with it is that when we say we give them 20% or 30%, whatever the number might be, instead of them just taking the money and running and like, I'm just going to keep it to myself and make more money, what they're going to do instead is kind of put it away into like a little bit of like a bucket, and then reduce their own fee, which is like they're still paying 7 bips and get their 7 bips that they're charging, but they might, go down to 4 bips or something like this, right? And then fill in the rest of the 7 bips that, to kind of cover it, so that so they charge less, so they can be more competitive with the other aggregators that this wallet, let's just call it Ledger, for example. Ledger has, probably dozens of swap providers that they're selecting from, and SwapKit's just one of the dozens, and they want to get a higher percentage of the volume that Ledger's doing as a whole. And so by pushing our prices down via the rev share functionality allows them to be more competitive, and therefore they get, the 7 bips from all the extra trades they're getting. So they're just using it as a methodology to get them larger trades. And of course, when they get more trades, that all comes through us. It has to come through us in this circumstance. And so it's a very like mutually beneficial concept that we want to test and, go about that. There's some complications around it. There's a weird bug where, because their Thor name is not like, a single like TT or whatever, it's like dash underscore, like some sort of really wacky thing that makes no actual sense, but whatever. Mimirs don't allow that kind of character, so we can't turn it on first. It's like the one Thor name in all of existence that we basically cannot turn this feature on because they have a wacky name. So that's so painful. So we won't be able to turn it on actually until 320 comes out. But there's a little patch we got to do, which is, it's a small change. It's not hard, but it's just like annoying. So assuming the ADR passes and the community's behind it, we get 320 out, fix that issue. We flip it on, 10%, 20%, 30%, whatever the number is. I'm not really sure. We're going to have a conversation. And the biz dev team will work with the node operators to turn it on. And we'll just start seeing how effective that is, like how their plan and their proposal that they've given us, does it actually, make up for the 20% that they're giving them? Do we give them 20%, but we actually make, 40% back or whatever the numbers might be? That's going to be part of the kind of experimentation around this. And if it doesn't, if it's not working and the plan's not working, then we flip it off, right? And they don't get the 20% or whatever.
_ That's a really awesome name. That totally makes sense. Oh, gosh, what a bummer.
It's such a pain. I was talking to Oleg about it. I'm like, dude, like, can you just change your Thor name to be something, whatever? And he's like, no, it's actually really complicated and hard. I'm like, oh, all right,
man,
all right,
bummer.
All
okay.
right.
Whatever. At least when we fix this, it'll future-proof it for anyone who maybe wants to do _ as their Thor name.
Well, I don't even want to future-proof it because in order to future-proof it in a way that's compatible, I'd have to create 2 or 3 new transaction types, a new KV stores,
oh man,
a new API endpoints, a new manager, a new this. It's more complicated than the rev share feature itself, just for this one mother thing. And so I think what's going to happen in the end, we're just going to create a simple hard-coded alias just for SwapKit to get across this issue, because that's a simple and fast change. It doesn't require weeks of coding and art and reviews and all that it's just not worth the technical complexity and overhead. And we'll probably just do the kind of the quick and dirtier thing, which is just a hard-coded, alias from rev share SwapKit equals -- whatever.
Man, okay, anyone out there who wants to make a Thor name, God, I really hope you heard this segment. Don't do that at all, okay?
Don't make it. I mean, you can if you want to, but if you want to do the rev share, it won't be available until we do some sort of hard-coded thing for you.
Right, 100%.
It's an annoying little thing, but we just got to deal with it.
Yeah, and we're just kidding around SwapKit. We know you didn't know that.
No,
was
of course
be the
not.
Case,
no,
but,
of course, yeah, of course not. Yeah.
But damn it. Awesome. Okay. Hey, something really interesting, Chad. I'll send you the link after we're done with the podcast. But I was listening. I'm sure you're keeping up as much as you can with the latest AI stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Someone tagged you and I on X regarding a Bittensor live stream. I don't know if you saw that, but some pretty interesting claims. There's a subnet on Bittensor that said the AI model was at least on par or even superior than Mythos. So that's a very big claim.
Big claim.
Very big claim. Big claim. But they said they have the ability to prove it, but they don't want to disclose information because there's information involved. You don't want to just put that on the internet. So might be something to entertain.
Yeah,
because if this is go ahead.
I saw the tweet. I didn't watch the video. I just haven't had the time. But I mean, it's a really big claim for a handful of reasons. One, building something like a Mythos is extremely expensive. You need a large team of researchers. You need incredible amounts of compute. It's not the only 2 teams in the world that have achieved this so far is Anthropic and OpenAI, not GLM, not Minimax, not DeepSeek, not this, not that. So I am quite hesitant to or skeptical of the claims, especially if you're making the claim around benchmarks, and benchmarks are really easily to game, easily to cheat. Even Anthropic and OpenAI openly cheat. It's not openly, but semi-openly cheat on these benchmarks. So they're getting, some of these benchmarks are just kind of becoming useless because they're not really indicative of anything. So I don't know. I'd be curious to actually watch the video. I haven't watched it, to be fair, to to Jeffries and whoever the person he was interviewing with. So maybe I'm completely wrong with what I'm saying. If I am, I do apologize to both of them.
Well,
but
what's really cool is they offer to do a trial one, a free one for the code base. So you can give them their code base and they will give you they'll run it and they'll show you what it found, and That would be a fair test case for them, right? And see if it works or not.
In some
And so,
cases,
yeah,
you would have to run against. So here's my challenge: if they're listening and they want to prove
yes.
their claims here, run what you're doing against the curl database. Sorry, the curl code base. Right, curl is a command line tool on Linux. It's been around since like the 70s, I think, or not 70s or 80s or whatever it is. And I'm saying that because I know that, because I listened to a podcast with the guy who maintains that Mythos was used to scan that code base. They did find one issue, and I'm assuming it's been patched and all these things. So that's a code base that I'm confident that OpenAI or Anthropic themselves rather have scanned with Mythos. So if you can find something like a O-Day, so to speak, on curl, then that would be, for me, that would be okay. That's something it's like a real thing, right? That you can compare against Mythos. So that'd be my challenge to them if they wanted to heed it.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Yeah. Well, I hope you guys are listening. Yeah, I mean, I hope it's true, because right now the issue is we can't get access to Mythos, right? So
Right.
if there's,
Or
you
Fable
know,
5 or
yeah.
GPT 5.6 Soul, right? All these things are no bueno for us. Like Fable 5 came back unless you wanted to use it to code, and then it's not useless. Then you can't use it. It's just like the funniest thing. I'm like, Fable 5 is back unless you want to code. Then you can't use it.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is like such a joke in a sense, right? But like the funny thing is, like, the open source models from DeepSeek and whatever, they're continuing to get better, right? And I don't know they'll ever be Mythos or Fable level while those things are closed down, because a lot of those systems become better from what's called distillation, where they are trained on good models that already exist. And if you don't have access to those models, or the models don't even exist to begin with, like, things that are better than Mythos or better than Fable, then you can't distill them, and you're not going to get any better. So I'm very fascinated to actually watch this space over by the end of 2026 to see, like, can they generate something as like reasonably good as a Mythos or a Fable? And if they can't, is that because they gained access to those models, and the distillation protections that these frontier labs have are not getting good enough to defend themselves against these kinds of attacks, if you want to call it attacks? So I'm very fascinated to see how this progresses over the time, especially as, like, the Max Studio is probably going to be announced, and the NVIDIA D Spark, whatever, NGX Spark, whatever the hell it's called. These new ones are coming out that are like going to be crazy powerful, also very expensive, like talking like 10K or something like this, which is like not a small amount of money. But I'm very fascinated to see, like, if edge computing, rather than using these cloud services like, ChatGPT and whatnot, but actually running it locally and having hardware that you can buy, like, at an Apple store or something, like, like accessible to most humans who are not, systems engineers and like data centers and, wherever the hell that is. But actually buying something at a store, online, on Amazon or whatever, having it delivered to your house, set it up on your desk, and then downloading an open source model that is really powerful and, arguably as good as Opus or something like that, a 5.5, GPT 5.5, and then be able to do that locally, like, that would be killer, because I personally burn through my credits. I buy the maximum amount of credits, that the subscriptions for both Anthropic and OpenAI, and I burn through them both, in like 2 days for the entire week. So I would love to have something locally that I could just, like, fucking, you know, just flood it with queries, like, nonstop for THORChain and, by a Hugin or whatever, and just be able to get so much value out of it if I could do that. But it's going to be very fascinating to see how this industry moves over the next, like, 12 months.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for the record, Hugin's obviously still never stopped working, and it's still pushing out code and helping you guys be faster and faster. So, okay, all right. So we have XMR. We are waiting on 3.19.4, maybe 1-2 weeks. At our current knowledge, do not crucify us if we're wrong about that, guys. We do our best. What do you say is next? We got the the dynamic fee model. What's after that, Chad? Would you say? I know we talked about Zcash.
Zcash, Monero, dynamic
Mhm.
fee, rev share,
Rev share.
free stable swaps,
Yep. Yeah.
broader V6 rollout, which we're still working on slowly but surely, Substrate and Tau, open sourcing the TSS lib repo again, which is, coming out later this month, invariance refactor, Frost / DKLS. That's another big kind of ticket item in a sense. Let's see, opt-in chain clients, AI stuff that Randy was talking about, X402, blah, 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 this kind of things. System income to the POL. I mean, is that enough for you, or do you need more? I mean, this
Oh man. Yeah. So okay,
just
the POL thing. How about we talk about that? So does that just need to be turned on, or is there some more? I'm sorry, I
yeah.
forget.
So
Or
we actually, I discovered on our chat last week or the week before, I can't remember which. I thought it was an operational Mimir. And it was an
economic.
operational Mimir in the PR, and then I think actually Hugin changed it to economic by accident or something like this.
Okay.
And it was just missed in the code review, and so it got merged with as an economic. So we really have two options. Either A, we can just vote on it in its current form, which that's perfectly fine. The problem with that is we have to get 2/3 to agree on some number, right? Whatever that number might be. Is it 30? Is it 10? Is it 5? Is it? I don't know if the nodes would coalesce to a large enough degree to get to that 2/3 majority. Like I'm not confident that would happen. Or the other option is in the next code change in 3.20, which will be coming out like late this month. We would just switch it from economic to operational, and then we just like tell the nodes, hey, let's start voting on this thing. Vote for whatever number you want to vote for. You've got basically 3 days to figure it out till the next churn.
Okay, let's say nodes started voting now with the economic Mimir, and we switch it to an operational Mimir. Does that do anything? Does that
Not
mess
really.
anything up? Not really. Okay, so nodes can take a shot at it, and if we don't get there, whatever, that's fine.
Yeah, effectively. I mean, we've never actually done that before, and I'm not 100% confident about what the code behavior would be in that scenario. And I'd have to like look through the code, but theoretically, my guess is that if you try to do an economic Mimir, you didn't get to consensus, and then we do a code change to operational and switch it, nothing would happen until one node voted. It could be the same vote or a different vote. I don't think it really matters. That would cause it to reanalyze all the votes. I think that's like off the top of my head, and I haven't looked at that code in like years or whatever, but like off the top of my, I think that's what probably would happen, but I would want to look at the code to verify it.
So okay, what do you recommend? Maybe just waiting until the next release comes out. Was that safe to say, or
Yeah, I think that's safe to say because it doesn't really matter if we launch today or at the end of the month. The only difference between those 2 points is like when we start collecting POL that and start contributing to the pools. Like, is it really a big difference if we wait 30 days or whatever it is? No, probably not that huge of a difference. Like, as long as we're just directionally going the way we want to go.
That's a very bad Hugin. Bad Hugin. Naughty AI.
Naughty Hugin.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, there are worse things in life, right? I guess the speed increase that Hugin gives us, we can tolerate this mistake, Hugin. So be better.
Well,
we'll forgive you
humans
this
make
time.
mistakes too, right? So it's like,
Oh yeah.
So it's we can't. We can't look at technology and say you're never allowed to make a mistake, which is what we generally think as humans. We don't, we expect technology to always work 100% of the time. But because AI is, what we call non-deterministic, it will inherit. That's why you get hallucinations, right? It will inherently make mistakes. It's just like it's designed from the ground up to make mistakes in a matter of speaking. It will not be 100% accurate all the time. And obviously you just want to make sure that like, if it does do something that's unexpected, that the humans doing the code review catch whatever that thing is,
Right. Or put in the prompt, make no mistakes, right? So maybe
that'll work fine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, it is what it is. No big deal. Awesome. Okay. So gosh dang guys. I don't have any more questions. I'm looking at my list here. This is great, guys. If you have any questions whatsoever, please put them in the chat, you guys. We're at the top of the hour here on Thursday. Randy, did you have anything else that you thought that you want to mention at all? I loved your AI point a lot, man. I think it was really cool. AI agents, adding them to THORChain.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I'm fired up on. I think one thing I've noticed recently, I think I just read it today, is like, I'm curious how to get more involved, or if we should. I mean, I know the answer is yes, we should, but like, I see a lot of these TradFi, like we'll use Robinhood. They just launched their chain today, officially, mainnet. I know they were in test, but it's just like, and then I read somewhere that they're basically using like Uniswap and I think even DYDX as like for swap partners. And I'm just like, well, hold on. Like, yeah, ever heard of THORChain? So it's like things like why can't Robinhood use us? You know what I mean? Like, why?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm just, this is more of just like just kind of talking out loud. But I was like, I just saw that literally today, and I'm thinking to myself, all these new TradFi players are coming on board. Sure, they might not fit in the ethos of crypto, and I get all that, but at the end of the day, I personally, I don't care. I just want them to swap on THORChain. Like, that's all I care about. So, how do I guess, go after them and try to see if I can't get them to know who we are and maybe use us for their swaps. So,
Yeah, I think in that case, I think they're operating. I want to say it's like a layer 2 on top of Arbitrum or
they are.
something like that.
It's on top of Arbitrum. They don't have like a token. They are. Yeah, it's an L2 on top of Arbitrum.
Yeah,
which already is a little off, but whatever.
yeah, it is what it is. We have to make sure we're connected to that chain, whatever chain they're on. That's the first thing we have to achieve in order to be able to satisfy these. But then it's like, the next question is like, where do they want to trade to? Do they want to trade with Bitcoin, for example? Like, that would probably be the endpoint that we can do that.
Yep.
The others cannot, in a sense. It would be the kind of Bitcoin angle. Like, ideas want to swap to Bitcoin from Hood or whatever.
Right.
So that would be it. Like, but yeah, if you could, definitely you should reach out and make best efforts. I'm sure you already have. I'm sure, but that would be fascinating to get a partnership with them. Like, I have no problem integrating with TradFi, right?
Not at all.
We're not going to compromise on our stance and our principles as a protocol. Like, we're not going to start to KYC people just so we can get Hood connected to us. Like, that's just not going to happen, in my opinion. But money is money. Trades volume is volume. Fees are fees. So I'm all for it.
Yep. And you actually just brought up really nice transition to the other point I was going to ask you guys, is just, we're not going to compromise on our values, right? So like, I'm newer to the community, but I probably have my own opinion on this, but I really want to make sure that THORChain has what I call, like, just like our moat, and it's super defined, because I think what you just said is so important, right? It's just so important. It's like the fact that we are truly decentralized and truly permissionless and censorship resistant, and that is something we cannot afford to lose. We need to lean into fully. And I just want to make sure that I call it a moat, but call it mission statement moat, but I just want to make sure that it's super well defined, and we make sure that we absolutely stick to those values and never, ever, ever stray away from that, which is what you just were alluding to.
Yeah.
And so, that's really important to me. And it should be important to the community. Is like, we really do have a special thing going that, and it sucks that not a lot of people, I think, either respect it or know about it. It baffles my mind sometimes. I'm just like, what? But that's my job, right? To go out there and get people aware.
Yeah.
But I really want to make sure that we're holding to that. Not that we're not, we are, but it's really important to have that moat, so that if anyone really asks, like, ultimately what it is we do, it's like, this is what we provide.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting because,
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense.
It does.
It's
okay. Okay.
Obviously we've been around the longest when it comes down to like cross-chain stuff. We were the, this project is the one that invented cross-chain liquidity in a kind of a literal sense, in my opinion.
Yep.
And we've been established for a long time. We on the bleeding edge of this industry, the subcategory, if you want to call it that, for a long time. And it's interesting because I was just reading on the other day, and I actually messaged Erik Voorhees, yes, just to congratulate him. But he just got like a
Oh, for the
series.
round of yacht.
Yeah,
Yep.
he got a
Yep.
Series
Sorry.
A,
Yep.
$65 million
And everyone's
investment
shitting on him.
on. Yeah,
It's so stupid. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
he
Keep going.
became a unicorn. Everybody's got shit on him now. It's just how it works, right? As soon as you have that unicorn label, you're $1 billion organization or whatever. And so like he's like sitting in a very similar position to us, right? Where you've got the centralized options, which are these big behemoths, right? In our case, it's Coinbase and Kraken and Binance and what have you.
Right.
And in their case, it's Anthropic and OpenAI, all these things. And they're offering the same service at the end of the day, like of LLMs, access to LLMs. And for us, it's cross-chain swaps effectively. But they're all like they had this huge opinion. Erik wrote this really well written tweet thread or whatever it was about all the importance of this and privacy and all these things. And I think like a lot of the things that Erik says about Venice AI really can be just like rephrased a little bit and pointed at THORChain as in terms of the value, in terms of the moat, in terms of the proposition of why people should be using us and not be using the big guys, that
100%.
that dominate the space and don't have your best interests in heart, or even really give a rat's fuck about what your best what your best interests even are,
Mhm.
So I think that's like interesting. As I was reading Erik's thing earlier yesterday, where it was, or this morning, where it was, it kind of hit me like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that, and I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Randy, you don't have to worry about that. I mean, if we were going to surrender our moat, we would have done it a long time ago, because it is so much easier to do it the way these other people do, where you have like a market maker or solver, where you don't have to deal with the complexity of maintaining infrastructure that's truly permissionless and everything's in the open. I mean, we would have surrendered long ago. And for me, as I say on here, I mean, I want THORChain, I want Rune to do well. I believe it, easily could be a 3-4 figure asset one day. I truly believe that, given what we represent. But for me, it's also existential. Like we either do this or we failed. Like this,
Yeah.
and like what an interesting thing, right? Like we are once in a species. Not like this isn't. This will never happen again. What this represents, blockchain, and what a profound responsibility it is. And so THORChain, we took the hard path, we forged it, and we're not going anywhere, Randy. So it doesn't matter what they do, it doesn't matter what they say. If anyone tries to coerce THORChain and surrendering it, there's 0% chance. And I'm glad you mentioned increasing decentralization. For those, a lot of people, you saw a lot of new nodes come. I was announcing them in Discord, you guys, the 5 new nodes. There are many more coming, and I know people are a little nervous, but I promise you guys, these people they're our boys, and you would know their avatars, and they're just like Chad, they're just like Randy, they're just like me, they're just like you. They have been working very hard, and the pause due to the exploit just meant a big group of them were ready to go. And that's why they all dropped like that. Otherwise, they would have been 1s and 2s, and that's it. So, but many more are coming, guys. And, Randy, to talk, you talk about the ethos and the moat. We have a node operator who's literally surrendering all his BPs and is uplifting as many individuals as he possibly can, specifically because XMR is coming, specifically because he believes in humanity and what's coming. So if there is not more bullish than that, just altruism and economics, I don't know what to say. I've never seen anything like this before. I've never seen anything like this before anywhere in my life, what this community does routinely every day. Not just me, not just Chad, but all of you guys. So yeah, the moat ain't going away. In fact, the moat's going to get bigger.
Yep.
Love it.
Yep.
That's
Damn right.
Well, that's great to hear, and hopefully I can help make that moat as big as possible. So I'm all in.
My point, you guys tell me, if I'm TradFi, I want to use, that was the whole point of THORChain. THORChain was to be raw economic infrastructure for TradFi for everybody.
Yep.
It's just better.
Yep.
Exactly.
Right? So you want to use it because it's just a competitive advantage. I mean, it's just going to be cheaper. It's going to be more reliable. There's going to be less headache, less red tape.
Yep.
Add THORChain if you're a TradFi. Do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Randy, you're going to make the most compelling case ever, and you're going to get
Yeah, I like where your head's at.
the one thing I can't figure out quite honestly is stocks. I don't understand. I mean, I understand stocks on blockchain. I just don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's just some stocks that maybe will be. There's probably gonna be different classifications that we can add stocks, but then there'll be stocks like SpaceX that will never be on a permissionless. And I don't know. I really don't know how to. I don't know how
Yeah.
the government's going to handle that, but we'll see. But um, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
right now we could. Okay, I do get this question a lot. You know, gold and various stocks. Chad, do you see that? I mean, this is a random question, but do you see that in the medium term or longer term or
Golden stocks, you mean, in general?
just stocks in general, I should say. Yeah, for on THORChain.
Oh, on THORChain, you mean? Oh, I just
On
meant like
THORChain, yes,
my
like a pool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
yeah,
Um. Uh. To be honest, probably not. And the reason why I say that is for a few reasons. One is to represent stocks on a blockchain by default is probably illegal. And it would be, it would garner attention we don't really necessarily want to garner. That's the kind of the first thing to it. If you were to do it through a legal process and get approved from the right people, they're not going to do it on THORChain. They're going to do it on Base. They're going to do it on Solana that has more size and credibility. I mean, probably Base would be the most likely case. I would think actually. Maybe Solana is possible, but like Base is behind. Coinbase is behind Base, and everybody likes Coinbase within the government's perspective in the matter of speaking. So I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. And I'm not sure this is the right space for it. Like, because stocks inherently are controlled assets by governments, by
true.
design, and
Yeah,
cryptocurrencies are not. And so we're well suited for that. We're not necessarily well suited for stocks. And I would argue. I mean, not that I would be against it. If there was an opportunity, if there was a cause, if there was, an opening in this sense, I would obviously consider it. But if it's an opening for us, it's also going to be open for lots of other people, I would suspect. And so I doubt that. I doubt we'd ever see it. But yeah.
yeah, I think you might be right, and you wouldn't want because a stock is an entity, it's a company. If it goes to zero, then the pool goes to zero. So you would want the capital to be supplied by a third party. I mean, I would just know if there's an advantage for like a Coinbase to have their stock on THORChain as well that they could arbitrage against. I don't even think because they would do their own internal thing, so I don't even think that's
Yeah.
necessary.
I mean,
So
there's big questions about like when you buy or sell a stock, you have to be KYC'd to acquire. And most
yeah,
of the times when you buy or sell stock, you are actually not buying a stock. You're actually instructing your representative, which is like
right,
Fidelity or Ameritrade or whatever, and they're buying the stock and they're holding it on your behalf. That they are actually
right.
the legal owners of that asset, not you. They just have an IOU that they kind of have in their database that you have one of their shares. So I don't think you even legally own the stocks in a matter of speaking. So that becomes like a question of if you do put it on a blockchain, then how are we going to do with all of that? And that's going to be, another government, act, Clarity Act +2 or whatever the hell the thing is going to be called, whatever that is, to establish what the rules are going to be if you are going to do it on a blockchain. I think actually, if I remember correctly, I think I saw Coinbase was talking about doing this, putting stocks on the blockchain. I think I saw that recently.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that's going to be like in a certain kind of KYC kind of way. Like I didn't read the details of it, but I think that's like a real thing that Coinbase is actually working on.
Yeah, good point. Remind people on a brokerage, you don't own the stocks. You mean you can trade, and you don't. I think a lot of people don't know that. So,
That
we
that's
got a go
That's
ahead.
even true with the bank account, by the way. When you deposit $100
Yes,
bank account, that is no longer your money. You actually legally gave it to the bank, and the bank owes you $100 effectively. And so when there's something goes wrong, it's actually the bank's money that got stolen, and actually not legally speaking, it's actually not yours. Of course, we have process and procedures to recover that money that you lost, whatever. But it's more complicated than it seems, to the
yes.
average eye. Like, as soon as you deposit anything to any bank account or Fidelity or whatever it is, like, legally speaking, on paper it's yours, legally speaking it's not.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. We do have a question, Chad. Someone joined late. We did talk about this before, but XMR, when's it going to be integrated? Any updates? Sorry, I was late. Maybe you guys already answered this one. I'll try real quick. There were some bugs, and Chad, correct me at any point if I'm wrong. We have the Serai code, and there were some bugs found in there, some issues. We have to patch that. 3.19.4. Rough estimate, hopefully 1 to 2 weeks. We know that's a meme, but that's what we're dealing with. And then, man, I think we're off to the races. It is working. It does work in a test environment, you guys. It is real. It is real layer one for various exogenous assets. I know everyone's so excited. You guys, if we could wave a magic wand and add XMR right now, oh my God, I'd be waving that bitch like this. Like you don't understand how excited we are for XMR to go on THORChain. So thank you for your patience, guys. And maybe Chad, we'll do a quick reminder. When XMR goes live on THORChain, you guys, the liquidity will be shallow. Do not attempt $100,000 swaps. The liquidity will be, just a few $1,000s deep because it's, we test as hard as we can. That's why we're delaying it 3.1, 9.4 because we found some issues, right? So testing is ongoing. Once we pass that, guys, if you want to try $50, $100, that's okay. But understand there may be bugs, there may be pauses. So please keep that in mind. We always have issues when it goes in the mainnet environment because it's so difficult to get, to fully test the mainnet. It's kind of impossible, honestly.
Mainnet's so much more complicated than our testnet or simulation nets, right? Part of the issue was that we had everything working just good, everything was passing, everything was great from what we could tell, and then we did this deep audit of the Serai code and found a bunch of things that we thought should be fixed, like dozens of things, and so we patched those dozens of things, but the CI was not pointing in the right way, and it was being validated not against the latest changes, but about previous changes in state, and it just gave us false positives. Everything was fine, and it ended up being, oh no, the thing was pinned incorrectly, blah blah blah. We have to fix that, and now we found some issues, and we got to fix those, which is not that big of a deal. We can fix them in relatively shortly. It's not a hard problem to fix. In fact, you could probably just ask Hugo to do it, and Hugo will do it. But we'll get it. We'll fix patches, blah, 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 whatever, and carry on.
Guys, we're going to do it right. We're going to do it as best we can, right? So, this Chad and the other developers, they really take their time. This is a very important chain. It's probably the most important chain. Let's be real. I don't know. I think XMR, people have been saying this online. I totally agree. I think this is going to be one of the most transformational moments.
Yeah,
ever.
For all the chain clients we've ever had, this one is probably the biggest or second biggest. Terror actually went very well until it didn't, and we got lots of volume, lots of depth, lots of activity, lots of engagement, and it was a really successful launch as a chain, right? And then it collapsed and it didn't go so well. But XMR, my hope is that it's going to have similar kind of activity and swaps and all these kind of things.
Oh, I've been seeing online. There are so many partners here. They've already got the interface made. It's already built out. They're ready to go.
Yeah.
And shout out to you guys. Thank you. It's coming, guys. It's coming. Thank you for your patience. Makes my heart race just thinking about it. It's permissionless non-KYC access. That's going to help so many people. It's going to help so many people make their lives better. If people have had their data leaked, right? You're going to be able to protect yourself.
Yep.
That's why we're doing this. We want to help everyone. Privacy is a human right. We said in the intro of this podcast. There's no exceptions there. There's no half-ass measure here. We're doing this thing. It's coming. Thank you for your patience. LFG. Let's go. So I can't wait, guys. So excited. Boys, it's been an hour and a half. I'm not getting a lot of questions.
Let's wrap it.
I don't know. Okay, let's wrap it. I love it. Okay, guys, let me just check real quick, just in case I missed anything, because I want to make sure people sometimes send me and I miss them and they're so angry at me. Awesome. Okay, guys, I think we're going to wrap it there. Randy, thank you for filling in for Kenton. I really
Thanks for
appreciate
having me.
that. Awesome. And Chad, always great. Thank you for your time as well. You guys, for those who don't know, on these podcasts for data insights, please follow @Ray Analytics on X. It's at Ray, Nalytics on X. He does these written recaps on these podcasts. Very helpful. Always remember, you guys, the views expressed are solely of those to hosts and guests. Any action taken based on this information is at your own risk. Past performance is never indicative of future results, and the THORChain community does not endorse or condone illicit activity of any kind. This Saturday, guys, July 4th, we're going to have Bazaar Swap on there. Nikita from Decentranet. Super excited that. The next week, we're going to have Voltisig on there. I might be doing both of those by myself. No big deal. Kenton is getting some well-deserved rest. Always like to poke fun at the old man, but I love him to death. He's doing a great job. So thank you guys for hanging out with us today. We will see you on Saturday. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye now.